Hi everyone, this is Jim Davis from the Good Athlete Project. Today, we're going to talk about the potential of sports to improve outcomes on what we call the Thought-Action Continuum. All right, so first of all, I think it's really important to notice, or to note, that when we talk about the Thought-Action Continuum, we are not actually talking about motor learning. I actually just got back from a symposium on motor learning. This is not an actual or accurate display or set of understandings on how the brain controls the body, thought to action. It's more of a theoretical concept, thought and action, and I'll explain what I mean in a moment. Essentially, one thing that we've noticed is that some sort of balance between doing and deliberating on what should be done is necessary. Okay? And we talk about the thought-action continuum. We're talking about, in part, people who get stuck on one side or the other. So we've all seen this. Too much thinking can limit our productivity. Too much thinking, we see this on the field at all. That athlete thinks too much. That athlete doesn't just go. Well, there are two issues. You have to sort of upbraid that issue. One issue is that thinking too much absolutely would slow one down. The other issue would be that acting too much without thinking, yeah, you move, but are you moving in the right direction? These are the questions that we have to ask. So the question really is, where do you lie on the thought-action continuum? And obviously, perhaps obviously, there's a balance right in the middle where you've done enough deliberation to be confident in your actions. That's where you want to be, okay? So, but having the self-awareness to recognize where you are in that continuum is essential. And one thing that we talk about when we are in workshops, I don't know if you can see this in the screen there, but I just drew, that's supposed to be the ground, that's supposed to be a hole in the ground, okay? Consider that hole in the ground the obstacle, okay? You're over here. Over here, let's call that's the trophy, okay? And you know, this is whatever it is that you want to achieve. This is the barrier or the obstacle in the way. That's you. Okay? So you, in fact, let me just draw an actual person here. That's you. With big muscles. Okay, great. That's you, trying to get there. Where you sit on this thought-action continuum, that's a necessary thing to consider. So, first of all, if you just act, let's say you just act, and you just, boom, you barrel toward this, what happens? You fall in the hole, right? Thoughtless action will undoubtedly get you caught somewhere along the line. So you don't want to be all the way over here. Now, you also don't want to be all the way over here. If you're just thinking, if you're just strategizing, hypothesizing, envisioning the future without taking steps towards it, then what happens? Well, you take your big muscles and you just stay right over here. You never actually get to the goal. So finding a balance between strategy and action, so approaching the obstacle, envisioning ways to maybe you have to build a bridge to get over it, right? Maybe there's some other creative way to sort of circumvent the obstacle or engage with it. Maybe you recognize that it's going to take more than one of you, and maybe you vault across, or I don't know, pick your strategy. But ultimately, when you get a balance between thought and action, now you can circumvent the obstacle and accomplish the mission or achieve whatever it was that you were hoping to achieve. So the reason sports are so valuable in understanding this concept is because some version of this is so rudimentary, but some version of this is happening all the time. It could be professional, it could be in a relationship, it could be in the classroom, but essentially finding the balance between thought and action on that continuum is the only way to successfully move forward. Okay, that's just the truth. And if you talk about life lessons through sport, it's essential because action is either going to be successful or not successful. Let's say it's not successful. In the cases where action is not successful, you need feedback. You need feedback to grow from. I didn't accomplish what I was hoping to accomplish. Why? Well, if you have no plan to begin with, then there's nothing to reflect on. I didn't accomplish what I was hoping to accomplish because I took steps A, B, and C, and I need to manipulate C some way. So I won't go too deep into that, but think of a playbook, think of whatever. Here's the point, though. The reason sports are so valuable to learn that sort of style of feedback-based thinking, learning from experience, is because what we find is in these sort of invented systems, these games that we play, the hole is just not that deep, right? It's a small hole. So you lose a tennis match, so you lose a football game, whatever it is. The fall is not very far. So what we have are these structures, these games within which the person is over here, the goal is over here, the obstacle's right there, and failure in the presence of the obstacle isn't it. It's not over. Failure in the presence of the obstacle gives you feedback. Okay, so that's what's special about sports, because you begin to learn. Okay, I fell in the hole wasn't that deep, I lost a tennis game or whatever the game you were playing was. Reflect, encourage reflection. Recognize, okay, next time I can't just barrel down the road at it. Well, maybe I'm going to try this way. Oh, that didn't work either? Fine. Maybe I'll try this way. That didn't, whatever. And you begin to develop this really essential bit of understanding. It is growth mindset in all of its glory. It is this process of, we say it, I don't know if there's room on the screen for this, it looks like there is, self-awareness, purpose, and self-management. If you don't have those three things, if that's not going on, if we're not sort of juggling those inside of our head at all times, then we're probably not moving in the right direction. Okay? If we're just going without thinking, that's faulty. If we're thinking without going, there's no way to gather feedback. That too is faulty. So recognize what your purpose is, okay? And there's no judgment on what that might be. You have to have self-awareness to even begin the process, and then self-management to navigate these experiences. But again, it all comes down to, and here's the kind of big reveal, the truth of it, this alone, if you are an athlete, I highly recommend you do it. If you are a coach, I highly recommend you stimulate this sort of thinking in your athletes. Just recognizing where you are on the thought-action continuum is a practice in self-awareness. So that's the mini lecture for today. If you've got any questions or you want to talk through ideas, please reach out to us. If you have any experiences that you've gone through that map onto this, we get this all the time, versions of this. I do hope you'll reach out and share. We'll help push you through in whatever way we can.